Hi students, today we will discuss about the ecology and ecosystem. The module is 1 and the lecture number is 4. So let's start the class. Okay, so students, as I told you, uh, we are discussing about the general portion of that of our subject, that is the environmental chemistry. Today we will discuss about the ecology and ecosystem. The lecture number is 4 and module 1. So this is our subject name, that is environmental science. The subject code is MC301 or 401. The contact number is 24. These are the some of the course objectives that I have given, and this is the course outcome, and also I have given here the lecture plan. Okay, and these are the objectives of our today's class. So first we will define the ecosystem. Next, we will see what are the elements of ecology. Next, we will discuss about the types of components of ecosystem and their function. And also, we will discuss about the food chain and food web. These are the some of the recapitulation of our previous previous day class. So in previous days, we have discussed about the some of the disasters like flood, earthquake, tsunami, cyclone, landslides, and what are the cause and effect, and how can we control that disaster, that also we have discussed. Okay, so these are the our today's topic, that is ecology and ecosystem. Now, what is ecology? Generally, in this portion, in this chapter, we discuss about the interconnection, the interrelationship between the biotic components and abiotic components of the nature, as with the relationship among the individuals, population, community of the biotic components. Okay, so this is called ecology. Ecology means this is a branch of science where we deal with the interrelationship between the biotic components and abiotic components, and also the with the individuals, population, and community of biotic components. Now, what is ecosystem? Generally, ecosystem is the combination of an area's abiotic and biotic factors. Okay, so it can be visualized as a function unit of the nature, where living organisms interact among themselves, and also living organism interact among themselves and also the surrounding physical environment. So ecosystem means whatever in our surroundings we have, that is biotic components, abiotic components, all these are called by the ecosystem. The combination, the combination of all biotic, abiotic, whatever we have in our surroundings, that is our ecosystem. Okay, now components of the ecosystem, very important. Okay, so the ecosystem, generally there are two types of two components we have. One is, as I told you, one is biotic components and another one is abiotic component. Biotic component, whatever living we have in our surroundings, that is called by biotic components, and abiotic components like air, water, rainfall, temperature, soil, rocks, humidity. That is any type of non-living materials that we have in our environment, that is called by abiotic components. Okay, so these are the classification of components of ecosystem, which is very important, and very frequently you can have excuse me, you can have this type of question key: classify the components of ecosystem. Discuss each and every classification of each and every components of ecosystem. What are the relationships between each components of the ecosystem? These are the various types of questions that we will discuss later. Okay, so components of the ecosystem, generally two types. One is abiotic components and second one is the biotic component. For abiotic components, we have three classifications. One is physical factor, second one is inorganic substances, and third one is organic substances. Okay, physical factors, that means the temperature, humidity, light, atmospheric pressure. These all are the non-living materials, non-living systems that we have in our surroundings. These all are called by the physical factors. And inorganic substances, generally we have, that is water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, any type of inorganic materials or inorganic compounds, whatever we are synthesizing in our industry, factory, whatever we are using, that inorganic substances are the abiotic components of our ecosystem. Okay, and organic substances, generally we know organic compound means generally the composition will be carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, right? Okay, so some of the here is the some of the here are the some of the examples, that is protein, carbohydrate, lipids. These are the all organic substances of the abiotic components. So these are the three type of abiotic components that we have in our environment. That is physical factor, whatever we have, temperature, humidity, light, atmospheric pressure. Inorganic substances like water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and organic substances like protein, carbohydrate, lipids. Okay, so these are the organic substances belonging to the category that is abiotic component. Now biotic components are three types. One is producer, one is consumer, one is decomposer. So producer means which can produce their own food, like all type of plants. So green plants are generally what? Green plants are generally belongs to this category, that is producer. They can produce their own food. Okay. Next is consumer. Consumer, what are the consumers? Like animals. Okay, consumers like which can take the plants as well as the meat. That is consumers. The animals, all type of animals which are fed on the producers. That is consumers. And decomposer, generally the microorganisms are belonging to this category. The decomposer means they can decompose the organic materials. Okay, so they are called by decomposer. So these are the some of the components of the ecosystem that we have. Okay, so now abiotic factors. What are the abiotic factors we have? That is wind, sunlight, soil, water, atmosphere, temperature. Okay, so these are all these non-living components are the ecosystem, are the abiotic factors of the ecosystem. Okay, so all these are the you can see that is non-living components. So abiotic factors, again I am repeating, again, abiotic factors are of three types. One is physical, one is inorganic substances, one is organic substances. So in physical we have wind, sunlight, soil, temperature, Okay, humidity. And for inorganic substance means the inorganic compounds, water. And organic substance means protein, lipid. These are all the organic substances. Okay, now biotic components. Come to the biotic components. Again, biotic components are of three types: producer, consumer, and decomposer. Okay, producer means autotroph. They can also named as the autotroph. That means they can produce their own food, like green plants. They can green plants, they can what they can produce their own food with the help of solar energy. They can produce the glucose, yes. So with the help of the photosynthesis. Okay, consumers means, that means the generally animals which are fed on the producers. Okay, they can be herbivorous, they can be carnivorous, they can be omnivorous. Okay, so aerobic respiration, yes, anaerobic respiration. And decomposer means generally they can decompose, they can recycle the organic materials, okay, into the soil, in the water. So they are the decomposer. Generally bacteria, some of the bacteria are the belonging there to this category. Okay, now producers. Producers generally are of two types. Again, producers, we can classify the producers again two types. One is autotroph, one is chemosynthetic chemotroph. But chemosynthetic bacteria, like autotrophs means the green plants, all type of green plants which can, by with the help of photosynthesis, that means with the help of sunlight, they can produce their own food, glucose produce. They're producing the glucose. So this is called autotrophs. Okay. They are also called by the self feeders. And chemosynthetic bacteria, some of the bacteria we have by the chemical reactions like oxidation and reduction reaction, they can produce their own food also. Use the geothermal energy in hot spring or deep sea vents to produce their food. So by this chemical synthesis, oxidation and reduction reaction, they can produce their own food, that is called by chemosynthetic bacteria. Okay, now consumers. Consumers or heterotroph. Consumers are again of three types, that is primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumers that we have. Primary consumers generally, what are the primary consumers? That is second trophic level. This is the second trophic level. All the primary consumers are fed on the producers. That means all type of herbivores are belonging to this category, that is primary consumers. Organisms that consume producers. Herbivorous consume plants like deer, grasshoppers, rabbits, squirrel. So all these are the herbivorous and belongs to the category, that is primary consumer. Now secondary consumer. Secondary consumer, what are the secondary consumer? Which can feed on the primary consumers. Okay, like snake, frog, okay, bear. So these are all the secondary consumers, organisms that that depend on the primary consumers, like carnivorous consumes wolf, rodents. So these are all the secondary consumers. Okay. Now, tertiary consumers. Tertiary consumers, that is the fourth trophic level. Okay, at highest trophic level, these tertiary consumers means the food chain, it will be at the highest. So it consume the secondary consumers. Look here. So these are the tertiary consumers. They can consume the secondary, like lion, hawk. Okay. So they are the tertiary consumers. Now, the hawks, owl, they are all carnivorous. So these are the tertiary consumers which can feed on the secondary consumers. And omnivorous consumes that eat both. Omnivorous means generally what they can eat both the plants as well as the animals. So they are called by the omnivorous. Okay. Understand? So one more thing you can see, the most energy, this is the chain that you can see how energy will be passing through the producer to primary consumer to secondary consumer to tertiary consumer. Okay, so this is the energy level. Most of the energy is lost as you go up the pyramid. Exactly. So for this pyramid, the first level will have the high energy level. If we go towards the upside, you can see the loss of energy. Okay, loss of energy you can see. Okay, next we will discuss about the detritivores or decomposers. Decomposers mainly what, there are so many decomposers we have in our ecosystem which can what, which can decompose the organic waste. Like uh, they can be bacteria, okay, snail, slug, earthworm, millipede. Okay, so any type of fly, beetle. So these are the some of the centipede. These are the, they are the examples of the decomposers, organisms that consume non-living organic matter. These organisms, decomposer mainly fed on the dead bodies. Okay, dead non-living organic matter, enrich soil or recycle nutrient found in dead organisms. As they are decomposing the organic waste, so this organic waste they can recycle the nutrients. Okay, detritivores generally what they do, they scavenge the waste product or dead bodies like millipede, centipede. Okay, and decomposers, what will happen, decomposers, they break down the non-living and the other break down the leaf and other non-living materials like fungi, bacteria, enhance topsoil recycling nutrients. All these decomposers are recycling the nutrients and increase the amount of nutrients in the land. Okay, now we will discuss about the food chain. So food chain shows how each living things get food, how they are interconnected, and how the energy will be carried, will be supplied through producer to primary consumer to secondary consumer to tertiary consumer. Uh, okay, so you can see this is the food chain, the food pyramid, how nutrients and energy are passed from creature to creature. Food chain begin with plant life. The bottom layer, the bottom layer is the for the producer. That means all type of green plants are belonging to this category. And end with animal life, end with the carnivores. Okay, so you can see that some animals eat plant, some animals eat other animals. A simple food chain could start with the grass and which is eaten by the rabbits. Yeah, very simple food chain. What we can see that rabbit, it can start it from the grass, that is the producer. The primary consumer is rabbit, and so on. So now one more thing, if we go towards the upside, you can see the energy will be decreases. Energy will be decreases at the lower bottommost layer. The energy will be high where the producers are belongs. Okay, next we have the primary consumer, next we have secondary consumer, then tertiary consumer, and then we have the quaternary consumers. Okay, so and from where we are getting this energy? From generally we are getting this energy from the light energy. Okay, so this is all about the food chain. You can see. And one more thing that I must explain, that is decomposer. While the decomposer decompose the dead organisms, what will happen? Some of the heat will also release. Okay. Okay. Now food chain are of two types. One is grazing and one is detritus. Okay, so these are the two classifications that we have. One is grazing, one is detritus. So grazing food chain generally starting from the living green plants to animals. Okay, herbivorous, then carnivorous we have then omnivorous. This type of chain does depend on the autotrophic energy level. Autotrophic, that means the producers, the plants. Okay, autotrophic energy capture, and the movement of this captured energy is herbivorous. Most of the ecosystem in nature follow this type of food chain, like phytoplankton, zooplankton, fish, grasses, or the grasses, rabbit, fox. These are the sequence of the grazing food chain. That means that is generally started from the green plants. Okay, green plants to animals, herbivorous, then carnivorous, then okay, now detritus food chain, generally this food chain is started from the dead leaves, but dead bodies. Okay, so this type of food chain goes from dead organic matter into microorganism that will feed on the microorganism, will feed on the dead bodies, and then this millipede will be fed on the secondary detritus. Okay, so organism feeding on the detritus and their predators. These depend chiefly on the influx of organic matter produced in another system. For example, such type of food chain operates in the decomposing accumulated litter in a temperate forest. Okay, so detritus, these are the differences between grazious and detritus food chain. That is, the one is starting from the producer and another one is starting from the dead organic matter. Okay. Okay, so food web. Now, food web, that means food web mainly what? We have so many components of ecosystem, so many types of ecosystem we have. All types of ecosystems are how connected with each other. The interconnection between the ecosystems, that is called by the ecosystems, like pond ecosystem, like grass ecosystem, forest ecosystem, mangrove ecosystem. So these are the types of some of the types of ecosystem we have, how they are interconnected. That is called by food web. Food web consists of many interconnected food chains and are more realistic representation of consumption relationships in ecosystem. Generally, food waves are three types. One is energy flow wave, one is functional wave, one is connectedness wave. Okay, so energy flow waves quantify energy flow from one species to another. Energy flow waves generally generally explain how energy will be supplied through one step to another step. Functional waves represent the importance of each species, maintaining the integrity of the community and reflect influence of the growth rate of the species population. So functional wave means it is explaining the importance of individual in the society. Okay. And connectedness wave, that is emphasize the feeding relationship among the species and portrayed as linked as a food wave. So these are the three types of food waves we have. Generally, why we are discussing about the food wave, what is the importance? The fundamental purpose of the food wave is to describe the feeding relationship. Generally, we are exploring the what are the feeding relationship among the species in a community. That is that we can get the from the that data, that is the details we can get from the food wave. Okay, so you can see the um, grassland, from the grassland ecosystem to forest ecosystem, how they are interconnected with each other. Okay, so this is called total as a whole. This is called as a whole. This is called the food wave. Okay, now this is the last topic. So quick review. I want to make a quick review. So I have given one question, that is, what are the physical factors in abiotic components of ecosystem that we have? And these are the types of some MCQ that you can have very frequently in your exam. So for that you have 10-second time. Yeah, your 10-second time is over. And yes, you are absolutely right. These are the some of the physical factors that we have, that is temperature, humidity, light and atmospheric pressure. These four physical factors that is belonging to the abiotic components. Generally, there are three types of abiotic components, three classifications we have. One is physical factor, one is inorganic substances, and one is organic substances. And the biotic components are of three types again, sorry. One is producer, consumer and decomposer. Producers are of two types. One is autotroph and one is chemotroph or chemosynthetic bacteria. And consumers are of three types again: primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. And the decomposer, lastly we have the decomposer. Okay, next we have discussed about the food chain and food web, which is very important also. So these are the some of the recapitulation, that is elements of ecology. Ecology, what is ecology, what is ecosystem? That we have ecosystem means whatever in our surroundings we have biotic, abiotic components. And ecology means the this in this part of the science we discuss about the interconnection between the biotic and abiotic components that we have in our environment. So next components, the types of components and their function we have discussed, and also we have discussed the food chain and food web. So next day we will discuss about the some of the ecosystem, types of ecosystem that we will discuss. Okay, so thank you students, and you please follow the classes and do the assignment, submit it within the time. So thank you students, and see you in the next class.